Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Om Shri Chinmaya Satgurave Namaha. 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 We had completed the first valli of Kathopanishad, and we had seen that the first valli ends by Yamacharya offering different temptations to Nachiketa. And finally, we saw the sadhana chatushtaya, different sadhana chatushtayas which are shown in and through the story of Nachiketa. What were the sadhana chatushtayas? Just the names: Viveka, Vairagya, Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, Shraddha, Samadhana, Mumukshutvam. All Mumukshutvam is the last one, Chatushtaya, right? Fourth one is Mumukshutvam. All these were different qualities of a student. Now, having said all of this, Yamacharya begins a new topic. And this is topic of Shreya and Preya. The beauty of this topic is you can look at it from two levels. One is a popular meaning, and second one is what Shankaracharya mentions in his commentary. Both we have to appreciate, so I invite all of you to listen with an open mind. The reason I am saying this, first meaning is easy. We have heard it several times, it will appeal to us right away. The second meaning is a little traditional meaning. Lot of questions will come, lot of doubts might come. How come Shreya and Preya is being interpreted in this way? But if we can hold on to the second meaning, entire Kathopanishad will open up in a new light. After this point, whatever mantras are going to come, they will open up in a new light. But let us see what is this mantra. First mantra, second valli, page number 65, Gurudev's commentary. Anyat Shreyonyadutaiva Preyah. Anyat Shreyonyadutaiva Preyah. Te ubhe nanarthe purushagam sinitah. Te ubhe nanarthe purushagam sinitah. Tayo shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati. Tayo shreya adadanasya sadhu bhavati. Hiyaterthadya upreyo vrunite. Hiyaterthadya upreyo vrunite. Yamacharya is telling Nachiketa, O Nachiketa, there are two paths available to a human being. But these two paths lead to two different destinations. There are two distinct paths. One is called as path of Shreya, another is called as path of Preya. One is path of Shreya, another is path of Preya. Now what is this Shreya and Preya? Simple meaning is, Shreya is path of good and Preya is path of pleasant. Whatever my mind likes to do by itself without putting any rules and regulations. In sadhana stage, for a sadhaka, that will be path of Preya. Mind by itself doesn't want to do right choices. Whatever it likes to do on its own, that is path of Preya. Whenever mind is disciplined, whenever mind is withdrawn to do certain things in a particular way, conscious choice for good, that is path of Shreya. Now if somebody, let us say, does not have the habit of waking up early, what do they say? You snooze, you lose. Right? You keep an alarm for some time. Right at that time, what does mind tell us? Little more. You have already taken care of things in the day. Little more sleep will not hurt you. That is Preya. Mind wants to do whatever it wants to do. But if you can discipline that mind and say, no matter what happens, this is the time I'm going to wake up. That is path of Shreya. Whatever is good is not necessarily pleasant. Waking up at that time, Amrit Vela time. Guru Nanak Ji, that was his main teaching, one of his main teachings. He said, do whatever you want. Amrit Vela time, you have to do japa. 4 to 6 a.m. He said, that is the time when we have to remember Bhagavan. So whatever is good for us, in the beginning, not necessary it is pleasant. And whatever is pleasant, not necessary it will be good for us. Now different choices are there. As far as our transactional life is concerned, constantly we are faced with these two options. Between food choices. One is eating whatever my tongue likes to eat, whatever taste we have. And another is eating what is right, according to our activity, our age, our body constitution. So which will be eating right path called as Shreya or Preya? Shreya. And what is the other path? Eating whatever we like to eat, that is path of Preya. Now this one is very simple. Shreya and Preya. You can take several examples. Social media, for example. Spending a lot of time on social media. Which path is it? Preya. Because no effort is needed. We don't say I'm working hard to spend time on social media. Mind just likes to do it. But if I have to withdraw and actually invest this mind in something I really value, that is path of Shreya. Path of good. Between these two paths, which one is pleasant? Path of Preya is pleasant in the beginning. But end destination of that Preya path is not good. Gurudev calls it as, in his commentary he writes, there are two paths. One looks very well lit, very well constructed, very well paved. But it leads you to a deep valley. And another path is unpaved and lot of turns are there, windy road is there, but there is a beautiful meadow waiting at the end of that path. So he says that rough path which looks in the beginning but leads us to a meadow is path of Shreya. That path which is very well lit, looks very attractive in the beginning, is the path of Preya. Coming to satsang, in the beginning it will be a battle between these two paths, Shreya and Preya. Not pleasant. 1 hour you have to sit in one place. Mind would like to do so many other things. Of course, a stage should come when our natural tendency is to do good only. Whether it is eating choices, whether it is our choices related to satsang, all other things, natural choice should be to do the right thing. But until we reach that point, it will always be a struggle between Shreya and Preya. So throughout the day, this person's Viveka, remember that sadhana chatushtaya, ability to discern, it's very, very sharp and awakened. He's able to catch his mind at the right time and switch from Preya to Shreya. Simple example of waking up only. See, most of the times we end up regretting after it is done. Either it is food or any habit, mind will go and do it, and same mind which forced us to do that thing will come and give us guidance at that point. I say, why did you do this? It was the same mind which told us to do it. But this Viveka is the ability to catch the mind at the right time, switch from Preya to Shreya. So what is the first definition of Shreya Preya? Path of good is Shreya. Path of pleasant is Preya. Okay, this definition is very easy to understand. Second one that Shankaracharya writes is little bit subtle. He says, through body, we are getting some kind of objects. Through mind, we are feeling different emotions. Through intellect, we are seeking different kind of thoughts. We are thinking different thoughts. Seeking conducive situation around us, favorable situation around us, and thinking that if situation remains conducive to me, everything will be good. If I get a particular situation, that situation will solve all my problems. He says that is path of Preya. Seeking solace or absolute solution in situations. That is path of Preya. And seeking solace in self-abidance. Understanding that all my problems will come to an end when I abide in the self. He says that is path of Shreya. In other words, if you want to understand this in Raman Maharshi's words, wherever the ego is kept alive, wherever the ego gets strengthened, this notion that I am this person gets strengthened, I am this jiva gets strengthened, he says that is path of Preya. And wherever we are able to transcend the ego and understand our infinitude, he says that is path of Shreya. Slightly deeper, right? Compared to choices between the world, he is saying choice between Atma and Anatma. Choice between consciousness and situations that are created by adjusting body, mind and intellect. Now, how do we understand this? Or why are we taking the second meaning now? Just before this second Valli, Yamacharya had offered all different temptations to Nachiketa. And those temptations were going to give him the best possible situation anybody could think about. We can go step by step here. Just look at body. Through body, what is the most conducive situation we can seek? All sense organs are getting whatever they like according to their taste. Every sense organ has its own demand list. Eyes want to see certain things. Ears want to hear certain things. Tongue wants to taste particular things. You know, if you go to buy comforter, they have a range of comforters. Temperature control. Something will have a particular fabric, which is very special. What is that sense organ? Touch. It is having that preference for that particular fabric. Somebody might say, I wear only khadi clothes. no other fabric I can wear. So if he gets that particular clothing, he feels, oh, it is so good. Just at body level, we have not even gone to mind yet. As far as food is concerned, some people like really spicy food. If they get little less than that, they feel something is wrong. I cannot eat. And some are very particular. Same thing should not repeat in a week at least. When we do vichara, do it objectively. Don't judge it as right or wrong. Just appreciating this is how our mind works. How are we building conducive situations for body? By satisfying the demands of every sense organ. Satisfying the preferences of every sense organ. That is my conducive situation at body level. Whatever I want, I am getting. Okay. Then the next one is at mind level. At mind level, what is conduciveness? If a person is able to get trust from other people, that is one level of conduciveness for his mind. Wherever he is placed, people trust him in his own family, in his own group of friends. He says that trust gives a lot of joy. Wherever there is trust, we don't hesitate to give our home keys to that person and go. Goswamiji gives this example. He says, look at the value of love and trust. Milk and water are two different things, but water gets sold at the price of milk as long as there is trust between both of them. If there is one drop of lemon that falls in there, neither is water useful nor is milk useful. So that one drop of lemon is distrust. If that comes in, there is lot of khatai, he says. Khatai means sourness. Neither can you use milk or water. Don't say you can make paneer out of it. Don't stretch the example. What is pointing out is two things. Okay, at body level, what did we see? Conduciveness is satisfying preferences of sense organ. Now, just by satisfying preferences of sense organ, not necessary that mind is conducive. This point you have to appreciate. There is something more needed for mind to be conducive. This is the first thing there is trust. Second thing needed is love. We might trust somebody, but unless we love that person, or we might receive trust from people, but unless we receive love, his mind is not satisfied. And how does love express? Love expresses through caring. You can put it other way also. Whenever caring stops, love stops. So this person's second thing about mind is, along with trust, he is having love in his life. Wherever he is placed, he is able to be recipient of love. I'd heard about one interview by J.R.D. Tataji. Somebody asked him, in your 40 years of industrial career, what is your greatest accomplishment? He said, whenever I walked into my company, I got this feeling that I am valued over here. He said, that is my greatest accomplishment with all my colleagues. And this he is not talking about when he was successful. Right from the beginning he said, whoever I worked with, when we entered we were all equals. But I always had this feeling that I am loved and valued over here. Means imagine how his mind would be. That person who is having this kind of blessing in life. He has trust, he has love. Third one is respect. If a person gets trust and love but no respect, his mind will not be happy and cheerful. He says, wherever I go, if my presence is not even counted, as though I am not present, my views are not counted at all, in that surrounding or atmosphere, you will not feel very comfortable. So third thing we need for cheerfulness at mind level, conduciveness at mind level, is respect. Love, trust and respect. But the irony is, we need all these things. But unfortunately, we cannot demand any of these. I cannot show a stick at somebody, better love me. You're not trusting me, better trust me. Bhagavan says we have full freedom in giving. Nobody can stop us from trusting others. Nobody can stop us from loving others. Nobody can stop us from respecting others. What we have to receive back in return, Bhagavan says it will come according to the law of karma. There is a law in place to decide what we are going to receive back. In that he says you have no control. That is my department. But in giving these three things, we have full control. So a person is trying to create conducive situations on the strength of all these points. This is at mind level, trust, love and respect. Now what is it at intellect level? Another example, if you want to see at mind level, when Dashrath Maharaj announces that he is stepping down and Bhagwan Rama is going to be coronated as the Yuvaraja, king designate, everybody is so happy, they start clapping. And Dashrath Maharaj feels, did I do something wrong? Means, if somebody says, I am retiring, and everybody is very happy about his retirement, naturally will think. But then the people of Ayodhya say, it is not about you. It is about Rama. He has made us feel so special that you have chosen the right person as the king. Means to give there is full independence. To receive it back, it is not in our hands. This is at mind level. Now what is at intellect level? At intellect level, conduciveness is we have the right group of people to discuss what we value, to discuss what our intellect holds as supreme. Intellect satisfaction will come when it gets the right cohort to discuss those topics that it values. Now, if somebody is interested in technology, let us say, and you don't have anybody to discuss technology, there is lot of love, lot of trust, but this part of intellect will remain hollow. Naturally, he will look for those places, those surroundings where this curiosity or conduciveness of intellect is satisfied. If you like football and none of your friends are into that sport, so you might be so excited about Super Bowl, whatever you want to share, but nobody understands it. If I am your friend, let us say, your intellect will be very disappointed. There is trust, there is love, but this part is missing of intellect. So intellect looks for that surrounding where we find like-minded peoples to discuss those topics which we value. If we get it, then the curiosity of intellect is satisfied. More than curiosity, you can say, it feels everything is conducive. Any topic for that matter, Vedanta also. If somebody likes to discuss Vedanta, reflect about Vedanta, and you are in a place where nobody is discussing Vedanta, you see how that mind feels at that point. It will look for right people, even if one person is there remotely spiritual. You will catch hold of him and start some discussion. That is how this intellect works. It is looking for the right circumstance. All of this put together is which path? Path of prayer. That's why I said the second meaning is a little bit deeper. If I am looking for conduciveness at body level, 100%. Conduciveness at mind level, 100%. Conduciveness at intellect level, 100%. Only when everything is check, 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 I say, I'll be happy. The one who is having this goal and walking his life in that direction, Upanishads say that is path of prayer. See, when we say paristhiti, it doesn't open up generally. We think paristhiti means the harmonium, the mic, the air conditioning around me. This is no, paristhiti includes, that is only body level. Preferences of sense organ at body level is one track, at mind level is another track. Trust, love and respect. Intellect level paristhiti is totally different. Getting the right topics, satisfying our intellectual curiosity and quest. If I am expecting perfection in all these and trying to create such a situation where everything will be perfect, he says that is the path of prayer. Okay, just for thinking purpose. 3 things we saw, right? Conduciveness at body level, mind level, intellect level. Which one do you think is more powerful than the other? Mind, somebody said. Intellect. Say the third one also. Then it's all equal. You can explain it in different ways, but mind is more powerful. That's why they say, Man jeete jagajeet. If mind is conducive, even if situations at body level, intellect level are not very conducive, still we can be happy. Means take for example, you enter into some discussion with somebody. Intellect is very active. Same topic that you like. But let us say, in and through that discussion, there was some heated discussion about that topic. Unless love, trust and respect is maintained in that discussion, even if intellect is getting satisfied, it will not give joy. So in satisfying conduciveness at intellect level, mind has to be conducive even there. Only when that discussion leads to all these 3 things being protected, of mutual trust, mutual love, mutual respect, that is when that discussion actually gives us conduciveness and joy. This is path of prayer. And the one who is seeking Atma, the eternal, the unchanging, one who is seeking that is the path of Shreya. Now, how does he come to seek this? How does he come to choose path of Shreya? He analyzes certain things about situations, paristhiti. One thing is, because it is born out of karma, it is born out of some action, this will never remain the same all the time. Think about each one separately and see whether if we create one paristhiti, one situation, for how long it is going to stay the same without constantly maintaining it. Even if we try to maintain, we cannot guarantee it will stay the same. Take mind for example. What was conduciveness at mind level? Trust, love, respect. Let us say with some effort, God's grace, personality of a person starts receiving all 3. Receives trust, receives love, receives respect. But can he guarantee month later the person who is trusting, loving and respecting will continue to do it? Yes, he cannot. Hurry, it is the most near and dear person. It might be. But nature of paristhiti is such, because it is born out of karma, it is always impermanent. means he starts thinking, where am I investing joy in my life? If I only invest in paristhiti, which is so uncertain, my joy is also equally uncertain. That is his understanding, which starts making him seek for something which is permanent. As long as he is happy with this, unless he feels the samsara, the heat of samsara with maintaining paristhiti, he will not get real quest and real motivation to seek something permanent. So this is one thing he notices, that things are very, very impermanent and uncertain. Paristhiti does not ask me before coming, it doesn't ask me before going. It just comes and goes because it is ruled by karma. And here I am trying to find the perfect 100% for all these things. He says that is never going to happen in the first place. And second is, if I am busy with something, that means I don't have the mental bandwidth and time to invest it somewhere else. This point will again come in the next verse. At different stages of life, we try to create different paristhithis. And a stage comes when they say, okay, now time is up. And he looks back and he says, what have you done through the whole life? He says, I created constant different paristhithis which were impermanent, which changed over time. That was my final accomplishment. Then our scriptures say, we have missed out on a great purpose of human birth. We got this human body to know the self, abide in the self. If paristhiti alone took majority of our time, they say we have missed out on something higher. Which verse in Bhajagovindam is this? Very good. Balastavat. Kala Kridati also. Balastavat Krida Saktah. Tarunastavat Taruni Saktah. Vruddhastavat Chinta Saktah. Parame Brahmani Kopina Saktah. He said, when we were children, we were caught up in certain situations. Conducive. See, objects kept changing. Preferences kept changing. As a child, we might have wanted marbles. As a teenager, some other thing we wanted. As an elderly person, he said, we didn't want anything. There was chinta about not losing anything. That is said in the next verse. Wanting something that I don't have is called as yoga. Worrying about protecting things which I already have is called as kshema. But what happened in this? Whole life went by. There was no time to think about the truth. Hari bhajana veena kala ghalavu na kore. Without seeking the self, don't just allow life to keep passing by. The one who thinks about it, that person is awakened to choose Shreya. The reason the second definition is important, whole Kathopanishad from this point onwards is going to speak about nature of Atma. It will not talk about choices at transactional level. Waking up early, waking up late, eating healthy food, you'll be thoroughly disappointed. If you are seeking any perspectives for that, here onwards they are going to talk about nature of Atma. That is why the second meaning is important about Shreya and Preya. Seeking self-abidance is path of Shreya. Wherever ahankara gets strengthened, this notion that I am this person gets strengthened, that is called as path of Preya. But please remember, path of Preya is not a bad path. That person is living a dharmic life. We are not discussing about an indulgent person. That definition was covered in the first one. Path of good, path of pleasant. Keep that separate. This is a person who is much better compared to somebody who is living an adharmic life. He is very hardworking, follows values. Then only he can create paristhiti. Correct? If he wants love, trust and respect, without hard work and values, he will not get even that. But to such a person, Upanishads come and tell, there is something beyond situations also. Don't label path of Preya as an erroneous path or somebody who is following adharmic path. They would not even discuss in Upanishad if that was the case. They are discussing it so that we at least know there is a path called as path of self-abidance. Compared to that path, situation path looks inferior. Okay, let us keep moving, but we will come back to this point. Anyat Shreya, Anyadutaiva Preya. Path of Shreya is different, path of Preya is different. If we seek situations, we might get it. But it is impermanent, it will change over time. I have never sought Shreya. There is no way that randomly, suddenly I will go from Preya to Shreya. They will lead us to two different goals. But the irony is, both of them will bind us. Te ubhe nanarthe purushagam sinitaha. One who is trying to develop conducive situations will get bound. One who is trying to seek Atma, self-abidance, he will also get bound. How will a person who is going to seek this self get bound? Lot of do's and don'ts. Sadhana Chatushtaya, if mind wants to think about something, wants to go in a spiral about something, he says, no, quieten it down. Mind wants to say something, speech wants to say something, you cannot say it, withdraw it. Person wants to go somewhere, you cannot go there. Lot of do's and don'ts will come with this. Sadhanas to do, japa to sit down in one place, meditation to sit down in one place, listening to scriptures. All of that is a bondage in some way because there is something we have to accomplish through that action. Something unattained is there. He says, I don't understand Vedanta right now, I have to understand Vedanta. That desire to understand will bind him in some way. He will put forth effort, he will listen to satsangs over and over again. In that way it will bind him. Path of Shreya will bind him in that way. How will path of Preya bind him? Even if we take karma, whatever karma we take, that karma decides how our lifestyle should be. Means person to have conducive situations, he will have to put forth effort at body level also. Simple example is, a person might like to have 5-course meal, elaborate meal. But moment he takes up some karma, the time he gets to eat is 15 minutes. So he will have a working lunch, one sandwich, and something else, apple. No, it's a bondage. What brought him that bondage? Karma. Means path of Preya also will bind. Means that also demands lot of discipline. Path of Preya also demands lot of restraint in his transactions. Switch only to the second definition, don't go to the first one. It will thoroughly confuse us. First one is path of good, path of pleasant. That definition is separate. This one is path of self-abidance and path of getting conducive situations. Path of self-abidance will bind us because there are a lot of do's and don'ts, strict disciplines in the path of sadhana, spiritual life. But even in the path of karma, there are many disciplines that we will have to take up to be successful even at worldly level, at world level. Person will have to exercise every day. Person will have to be diligent about food habits, sleeping routine. In that way, path of prayer will bind. Tayo Shreya Adadanasya Sadhu Bhavati. In spite of this being the case, if person chooses Shreya, path of self-abidance, everything is good for that person. On the other hand, if he chooses path of prayer, he gets deprived of supreme most purpose of human birth. Hiyate arthat yavu preyah vrunite. If he just gets caught up with situations and hopes or has this expectation that some situation will get created at body, mind and intellect level, which is going to give me permanent happiness. So that expectation that he has, he says he will be deprived of the supreme most purpose of Atmanishta. How many Purusharthas are there in our Sanatan Dharma? 4. Any order? Dharma, Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha. In his case, what will happen? Artha, Kama, Dharma will be there, Moksha will not be there. That is the meaning of that line. Artha, Kama, Dharma will give paristhiti. Artha, Kama, Dharma will give conducive situations. But it will not give us self-abidance. For that I need Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam after getting Sadhana Chatushtaya. Okay. Shreya prayer, initially when we hear it, I also thought like that. I was thinking they're talking about somebody who is walking on the path of prayer. They're telling him you should walk on path of Shreya. But then when you see this definition that Shankaracharya gives in his commentary, suddenly you realize, oh, they're talking about me. Means how much time am I spending on prayer? How much time am I spending on Shreya? He says they are mutually exclusive paths. Whenever we hear this, one doubt always comes. For our well-being, shouldn't we do things? If, let us say, in a family, there is somewhere you are lacking in trust, lacking in love, should we not fix it? You said fixing that is paristhiti, and that is path of prayer. So should I do something or not? In Srimad Bhagavatam it is said, yes, we should do something. But not thinking about that doing or final goal or final result as our final goal. It is a means so that we can walk the path of Shreya. It's a great blessing, if everything is conducive in life. Don't take it wrong. Nobody is asking for any trouble over here. But what we are saying is, one should not get stuck with any of these situations or think situation alone to be end destination. So whatever conducive situation is there, person can do two things. Either he can become more indulgent, or he can use that conduciveness for spiritual growth. Right? Both options are possible. If everything is conducive, he has whatever he wants as far as body is concerned, sense organs are concerned. As far as mind is concerned, everything is there. Things are going very well. Love, trust, respect, everything is there. Right group of people are also there. So either he can become more and more indulgent in that, or he can use that paristhiti for Shreya. If we are using it for Shreya, then that paristhiti is meaningful. Paristhiti by itself is not the end goal. Are you all getting this difference? That is the point which is mentioned here. Hiyate arthat yavu preyo urinite. One who chooses prayer, he is deprived of self-abidance. If you want a more precise definition, hold on to Ramana Maharshi's definition. Wherever this notion of ego persists and gets strengthened, that is path of prayer. Wherever this notion of I am this individual going through samsara and I want something in this world to be happy, wherever that notion persists, that is path of prayer. To understand that my nature is Ananda Swarupa, understand that my nature is consciousness in which this world is appearing, I don't have to seek anything in this world to be happy. Whatever takes us there, that is path of Shreya. In other places, the synonymous words given are path of prayer is called as Abhyudaya and path of Shreya is called as Nishreyasa. Shankaracharya writes this in the beginning of Bhagavad Gita Bhashya. He says there are two paths on the path of, in Sanatana Dharma. One is the path of Abhyudaya, which is path of prayer. Second one is path of Nishreyasa. We need both, but we should not get stuck with the first one. If our journey starts with Abhyudaya, ends with Abhyudaya, we have missed out on final goal of life. What are some other words? Aparavidya and Paravidya. Aparavidya, this is Mundaka Upanishad. Aparavidya is that which leads us to better and better situations. Knowledge of this world, different knowledge in this universe. And Paravidya is that which leads us to the self. Paravidya is that which leads us to the self. What is another word? Pravrutti and Nivrutti. Pravrutti is that which leads us to better and better situations. Nivrutti is that which leads us to self-abidance. These are all specific words. Generally what we understand is, Nivrutti means sitting quietly. Pravrutti means doing some action. You say, no. Doing action in a very dharmic way. Doing action such that we have prosperity as far as body, mind, intellect is concerned. Only then they will advise it as a path. But having had all of that, understanding that this is just the means, this is not the end. Hiyate arthat yau preyo vrunite. Now the second one is a very interesting verse. Nachiketa is as though asking, if this path is so clear that we should seek Shreya, prayer is only the means, how come people don't end up choosing Shreya? Just an example, don't stretch it too far. When we have marathons, sometimes the full marathon people take a right turn, right? And others are going on the left path. You see, majority will walk on which path? Left or right? Left one. You will see all crowd going on one path and few people going there. Like that he says, this world is different people walking. There are two paths. One is path of prayer, another is path of Shreya. On path of Shreya, it's a deserted path. Hardly one or two people walking. But here I see everybody is running. So Nachiketa is asking Yamacharya, why is this the case? So next mantra is very important mantra. He says, Shreyascha Preyascha Manushyametaha Shreyascha Preyascha Manushyametaha Tau Samparitya Vivinakti Dhiraha Tau Samparitya Vivinakti Dhiraha Shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vrunite Shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vrunite Preyo mando yogakshemat vrunite Preyo mando yogakshemat vrunite Shreya and Preya, O Nachiketa, they present themselves to every human being. Shreyascha Preyascha Manushyametah. They are available to everybody, whoever gets an opportunity to do Shravanam. You cannot say everybody means everybody in this world, huh? Because many might not even know that there is something called as Atma. There is something called as consciousness which we have to seek. But once they have heard it, then time and again both these paths present themselves in front of them. Shreyasya Preyasya Manushyametah. Who is a wise person? Dhira Purusha. Tau Samparitya Vivinakti Dhiraha. One who examines them very carefully. Samparitya means examines. And discerns between both these paths. Path of Preya, path of Shreya. That person is a Dhira Purusha. Because path of Preya was very well-known path. Everybody is walking. First of all, he has to know that there is a different path and have the courage to walk the second path. Tau samparitya vivinakti dhiraha. Shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vranite. Person who is dhira, he will choose Shreya over Preya. Means he will say, no matter what I do as far as situations are concerned, that is not my goal of life. I am grateful that God has blessed with lot of conducive situation. But I have to use that conduciveness for Shreya. So his Varanam is not Preya. His choice is Shreya only, self-abidance. That person is a Dhira Purusha. Shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vranite. Compared to Preya, he chose Shreya. And the last line says, Preyo mando yogakshema trunite. What was Nachiketa's question? Why do people end up choosing Preya? Two reasons are given here. One reason is they are manda. Second reason is there is lot of pressure of yogakshema. What is the definition of manda? What is the translation of manda? Dull. That is not the literal meaning here. Manda means somebody who has failed to appreciate the reality of paristhiti. Somebody who has failed to appreciate the unsteadiness of conducive situations, impermanence of conducive situations, that person is called as manda. Otherwise, he is very intelligent. He is following Preya because his mind works very well in that field. But Upanishad calls him manda because he is not seeing the limitations of situations. He is not feeling the heat of samsara. One Mahatma Ji, he went to a monastery to join as a novice. He graduated, came several years of monastic life. His other brother monk asked him, when you went to this monastery, were you clear about what you wanted? He said, I was clear about what I did not want. What I wanted, I got to know only in that monastery. But to get me there, I was at least clear about what I did not want. That is also one clarity. He said, path of Preya is not what I want. Not because somebody else is telling her. He himself has gone through it and he understands the impermanence of it. Understands the limitations of it to satisfy him and to give him permanent joy. He says that dissatisfaction took me there. Shreyo hi dhiro bhi preyaso vrunite. The one who chooses Preya, Preyo mandaha, that is the first thing. And second one is pressure of yogakshema. Yogakshema trunite. We just saw the definition of yogakshema. Whatever I don't have, this thought is always there, may I have it. And lot of efforts go in that, lot of time goes in that. And once we get that thing, the next project is, may this thing stay with me. This is easy to understand at mind level conduciveness. Love, trust, respect, if it was not there, lot of effort went in getting that. Once it has come, what will be next concern? I hope it stays. This time I am receiving this love and respect and trust. I hope it stays the same way. If that pressure is there, Upanishad says he will never choose Shreya. What is the way then to be free from worry of Yogakshema? First step to be free from Yogakshema is karma only. Person who is hardworking, to a great extent his worry about Yogakshema will go away. That hardworking person will seek Ashraya of Bhagavan. This is another point. Only one who has taken Karmashraya, one who is diligent and hardworking, he will be really able to seek Bhagavad Ashraya. If a person is tamasic, not ready to work hard, not putting forth effort, you think Bhagavan will help directly such a person? Not directly. First, who is hardworking person, taking ashraya of karma, that person, even though he is doing so many things, his heart will say, one who is really doing is Bhagavan. He says, I've done my best to get this conduciveness. Not that he is spoiling any of his vyavahara. He still does things to get love, trust and respect. But whether it will stay or not, he says, Bhagavan, that is your ashraya. If it comes one way, he says, well and good, if it is conducive. If it is unconducive, he says, so be it. Not without karma. Sometimes it can be misinterpreted also. That a person is careless about all these things. After doing whatever he has to do, as far as karma is concerned, his ashraya is not only in karma. He says, my ashraya is in Bhagavan. With that, he becomes free from worry of Yogakshema. Okay. Wherever I have discussed this, there has been a lot of Purvapakshas. First of all, with the definition itself. How come we are interpreting Shreya as self-abidance? How come we are interpreting Preya as path of situations? So feel free, if you have any questions, next class we can discuss. I mentioned this in Bhagavad Gita class also. It's not only about going verse by verse and finishing the text. Right? These are ideas which will create a paradigm shift in our quest, in our vision. And in and through that conversation and dialogue, both of us grow. Okay, so anything that we discussed so far, if you have questions, feel free to bring it up in the next session. Next session we don't have because of President's Day weekend. More announcements Sukanya ji will do. The one after that. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.